Hello and welcome to yet another edition of the Democratic Newsroom. Viewers, it's been exactly 1 month since the Pahalgam terror strike. Right in the beginning, what we had seen was unusual opposition unity, the opposition standing shoulder to shoulder with the government when it came down to the response of India to Pakistan. But over time, along with 9 terror launch pads in Pakistan, that opposition and government unity that we had seen has also gone up in smoke. The opposition now raising some very strong questions. The question is, are they pertinent questions that need to be asked, or is the opposition playing in to Pakistan propaganda? All of that being debated on this edition of the Democratic Newsroom. Introducing to you a full house today. We have a consulting editor, Rajdeep Sardesai, our managing editor, Gaurav Sawant. We have my colleagues, Akshita Nandgopal, our new joinee, Suesha. Welcome, Suesha. Suesha joins the Democratic Newsroom. So does Anjali Ishtwar. Welcome, Anjali. And Pooja. All right, so Rajdeep, questions being asked by the opposition. Do you think justified questioning or frivolous? You're playing into Pakistan agenda. What do you mean? What do you feel?
I believe very clearly, when you're in a warlike situation or in a war or a skirmish, call it what you will, one of the things you have to do in public life is show restraint. I think restraint is a very important quality because it's a sign of maturity when you are in that warlike situation. The moment the warlike situation is over, you have every right to ask questions. The questions should be asked and the answer should be given in a manner that I believe should encourage mutual respect and transparency. Unfortunately, because of the polarized nature of our politics, every question is deemed as anti-national and every answer sees a brick wall saying, why should we answer? So I think it's the breakdown of our politics that is reflected in what is happening post what happened with Operation Sindoor, which I think is unfortunate. In an ideal world, we should have had a special session of Parliament, I believe, like we've had in the past, where the government should have given us as much as they could within the constraints of national security, and the opposition should have asked those questions, and it should have been done in an atmosphere of mutual respect. That's what happened in 62, that's what's happened in 71, that's what's happened in 1999. I don't see why 2025 should have been any different. It happened even after the terror attack in 2008. I think we've seen a breakdown of our politics, a polarization, and that, to my mind, is regrettable because the public's right to know is weakened, and the world, therefore, will see us as a more fractious nation than we actually are.
Gaurav, do you wish to respond on this? What are your views?
I don't care how the world sees us. I care about winning wars, and wars have to be won when you have an adversary as deceitful as Pakistan, as a country that stabs you in the back, and you have a certain section of your leadership, your political class, that would actually ask questions that will benefit the adversary. I think that's really unfortunate and completely uncalled for.
So are you saying no question should be asked, for example,
of security?
I'll let you answer, Gaurav.
Not when operations are on. Let's be very clear about that.
We have 1 month since Pahalgam happened. We are doing this program 1 month since Pahalgam. Should we ask the question, for example, has accountability been fixed for the security lapses in Pahalgam? Now that the war is over, I'm talking post this. And if we ask those questions...
So you decided war is over before government of India has decided war is over.
So we are still in war mode? Are you saying still we are in war mode? Is Gaurav Sawant saying the country is still in war mode? Is that what you're saying?
Operation Sindoor is still on. That's what the Prime Minister said. That's what the government has said.
I am asking you a simple question. Fixing accountability for Pahalgam,
your enemies out to bleed you. Your enemies out to bleed you even today.
So please take on the enemy. Who's saying no? Asking questions.
No, you take on the enemy.
Are you saying
not with one hand covering your back?
Are you saying there should be no special session of Parliament where questions are asked? Are we a democracy or not?
Special session of Parliament in midst of a conflict with Pakistan.
Are we still in the midst of a conflict? Is the question I'm asking you.
We've been, this Vaga Mombatti brigade has to wake up because we've been at war with Pakistan for 30 years.
What is this name calling? Okay. Why name calling? Why name calling?
Let's get this very clear. They were bleeding you in 1993.
So, okay, one second.
No, hold on. Hear me out. 1993, 257 Indians were massacred by Pakistan's ISI in Mumbai. We were at war with them. They were waging war against India. 2006, when 200 people were killed in that train tragedy, we were at war with Pakistan. They were bleeding India. We want to do galbaiya with Pakistan and they want to bleed us. Let's
wake
up and defeat the enemy first.
One second.
Look at where he's moved the goalposts. Then you're saying we've been at permanent war with Pakistan for the last 30 years. If that's the
morning,
case,
Rajdeep.
if that's the case, you're saying don't ask any questions. We are an autocracy.
Okay.
We are an autocracy.
No,
How does that become an autocracy?
Not allowing
okay.
questions.
Rajdeep,
Not allowing questions
Rajdeep,
to
I'm
be asked.
moderating this
When
debate.
did I
Please.
say don't
Gaurav,
ask questions? At least win the war.
I am moderating this
I thought
debate.
we had
Allow
won
me
the
to
war.
come in. Allow me to come
Stop
in. And
thinking,
also,
just look at realities
and
on ground,
also bring
Rajdeep.
in our other panelists before I cut across
Please,
to
please.
Pooja and Akshita. I just want to get in, you know, my 2 cents in. And no, Rajdeep, you're never through. and you will prove it yourself in the course of this bulletin. But having said
I'll
that,
say something at the
okay,
end.
I just want to put, get my 2 cents in. What's so wrong with the opposition asking questions? Because the BJP also asked similar questions in 26-11. Right after that, accountability was fixed. Vilas Rao Deshmukh, the Chief Minister of Maharashtra, stepped down because the BJP went after him. The Home Minister at that point of time stepped down because there was accountability that was fixed. Because then the principal opposition did its job, which the BJP was then, and asked pertinent questions. At least that's what my 2 cents are. There is nothing wrong in asking questions. You don't play into the agenda of any other country. It is only your country's agenda at number 1 because of the reason why you ask certain questions.
Before Preeti Chaudhary, 1 minute. In 2008, I was covering
Sir, you said you were done.
the terror attack. No, because it
So
should be.
was I. I was on ground in Mumbai.
Mr. Prime Minister.
I wasn't in an
Yeah,
air-conditioned studio.
I wasn't either.
Sir, allow me to bring it.
No, because it must be said. Prime Minister Narendra Modi was then Chief Minister of Gujarat. While the operation was on at the Trident, he came there, delivered a press conference and questioned Prime Minister Manmohan Singh's handling. My point is, it cannot be that you will that where you stand depends on where you sit.
Rajdeep,
Limited point. No, madam, you must. You have raised the wrong question. You are saying, is the opposition politicizing it? Within 24
Who has raised
hours,
the wrong question?
within 24 hours of May 7th, even while the operation was on, posters had
That's
come up,
exactly-
hoardings across Mumbai.
Rajdeep, that's
Who's
exactly what I
politicizing
said.
it?
That's exactly what I said. When did I say you're politicizing it? Didn't you hear my comments?
Okay.
But having said that, I want to bring in Akshita. Please come in, then Pooja, you can, make your point. Akshita.
First of all, I agree with your opening statement, Preeti, that when this terror attack happened, you did see a very mature stand by the opposition where they said we stand together as one nation. Now, I partially agree with Rajdeep sir, I partially agree with Gaurav in the sense I believe that there are some questions that can be asked, some that I believe now you can't, like questioning the forces. You can go ahead and talk about a security lapse at Pahalgam. Right question to ask, you need to seek accountability on that front. But if you ask for proof of strikes, if you question our forces, if you question what they're saying about the strikes that they've conducted and seek proof of surgical strikes like they have previously, that for me is where you cross the line. And so you see that line essentially that the opposition has followed to me this time.
Okay.
I don't think they've crossed the line. Yes, you've had some loose cannons, you've made some loose statements, but to me the opposition leadership so far has in fact toed that line, maybe learned their lessons from past instances.
Okay. Pooja, you concur. What's your...
So what I have to say is I think everyone, whether in the government and opposition, has every right to ask questions to the government, and that can be at any moment. But it was not as much the question but the tone that I noticed. For example, recently when Yashwant Sinha came on record to say that this is Bihar elections, Sarkar ne karwaya hai. Other leaders also making similar tones. That I found extremely shocking because it was a reminder to me the statements that came in after the Pulwama attack. And you have to give credit to the Modi government. We all know and realize how Jammu and Kashmir Valley were in the past 1 decade. And the work that the government did all these years to be able to change it. I was venturing into areas I couldn't walk or even dream of walking into perhaps a decade ago. I was walking there with the microphone and a camera. So this government definitely worked hard. And then, of course, for whatever reason, there was a loophole that Pakistan found and there was this massacre. But at least you have to give credit and understand that the government will take action. There's a whole security establishment. Instead, making remarks, and when you questioning constantly on Indian aircrafts, which Pakistan journalists are picking up on, what Rahul Gandhi said, why is it so important to focus on aircrafts right now at a time when clearly you're trying to put a narrative to tell the world, look what Pakistan has done to us, not just 26/11, but since 1990s.
All right, allow me before anyone else comes in, because I want to bring in our 2 new anchors who've joined the group. This is, I think you've started off the bat right there. You know what a democratic newsroom looks like. So, Esha, how do you gauge the situation, especially politically? What's your point of view?
I think in parts I agree with all of you. So basically, I'll just sum up what I felt. There is a time to do things. Certainly, given the sentiment that the entire nation was feeling, and we were all angry. We were all angry. It was not just about what walk of life you come from. I spoke to so many people, and everybody was so angry at the nature of this attack. I mean, it was religious. And then on top of that, coming back to the Congress and the opposition primarily, questioning is one thing, but you've literally politicized everything from the operation itself to what happened on the ground, to the name of the Operation Sindoor, to the MP delegation row. Everything was politicized. Again, like I said, okay, some lines were crossed, loose cannons, the nature of the statements that were made. But again, there is a time for it. It should have been done in a more organized manner, like Rajdeep sir said, right at the start. And like Gaurav said, that the sentiment of every Indian should have been respected.
So like Akshita, you've got mixed feelings about.
Yes.
But Akshita, primarily, you agree that the opposition has done, they haven't really crossed the line here.
I don't think so.
You think they've done a responsible
I think that what
job?
we've also seen is when there have been comments made by loose cannons, the leadership has kind of stepped in and said that's not a stand we agree with.
Anjali, I know you've been watching everybody come in with their points of view very silently. What do you make of it? Where do you stand?
Well, firstly, I'll add to what Pooja had said. I think nobody is above questioning. Nobody in this world. Because that is how democracy works and that is how the world works. Secondly, I don't think so the opposition has crossed a line because you need to ask the question, this is their basic job. And if they don't do that, then they might as well sit at home and not be a political party. Politics is their job, and politicization of a certain thing, yes, we all agree it was a war-like situation. We stood by our country. Everybody in this country stood by their nation, their prime minister. So did the opposition party. But now is the time to answer some questions, and it's for the benefit of the country. Mind you, if we are looking at the lapses that happened, it is for the benefit of the country so that this does not happen again. That's all I want to say.
All right, I'm going to start taking final comments because I'm going to wrap up in the next 10 to 12 minutes. So, Rajdeep, would you like to go first?
No,
or are you done?
No, I think broadly, I think there is in a strange way, a consensus. You see, you can ask questions, but you've got to ask the right questions.
I didn't know, by the way, that we were going to have consensus walking into this.
No, for example, Rahul Gandhi's questions to Jai Shankar, I found them very strange. Because for example, saying that Jai Shankar was forewarning the Pakistanis. I don't think that's
no. But Rahul, no. I don't
place there being a space for misunderstanding.
No, 1 second, Rajdeep, I disagree with you because I disagree with you, and why I disagree with you, allow me. I just want to quote what the External Affairs Minister says and tell me, did he not leave room for interpretation? And in diplomacy, it's such a fine tightrope walk that every word needs to be weighed. You cannot leave any room for interpretation. Hear me out.
Yes.
Hear me out. What did Jai Shankar say? I think we reasonably took the position because even at the start of the operation, we had sent a message to Pakistan saying we are striking at terror infrastructure and not military. And the military has an option to stand out and not interfere. When the External Affairs Minister says something like this, he leaves room open for interpretation. And for the leader of opposition, it's only right to A, politically jump into this, B, even if it's in national interest, ask the question, did we forewarn Pakistan or not? What's wrong with that?
No, I don't think we are forewarning Pakistan. You see,
we did not.
No, I think questions.
It was
I think the way
maybe it could have been worded better, but you left room for interpretation.
That's where I stay with what Pooja said. I think it's very right. When you're in this situation, by all means ask questions, but frame your questions in a manner that they don't leave scope for interpretation on both sides. When you're External Affairs Minister, make sure that when you make a comment, it is made in a manner that it does not leave any room for interpretation. I think there are far more important questions to be asked. I think we need to ask, for example, very clearly, what is the role of the United States in framing this, in deciding on the ceasefire? I think we certainly need to know what happened in Pahalgam. We certainly need to know whether the all-party meeting was lied to when it was said that police permission was needed to for tourists to go to opening up Baisaran. All these are legitimate questions. My point is, if there was mutual respect, you see, my worry is the Prime Minister treats the principal leader of the opposition with contempt, and the principal opposition leader does not show respect to the Prime Minister's office. That is where it starts. Let us not label the entire opposition. How many other opposition leaders, whether it's Stalin, whether it's Mamta, whether it is other leaders of the opposition, they haven't spoken out of turn, even if the principal problem seems to be Prime Minister Modi on one side and Rahul Gandhi on the other.
Okay,
and that they have no mutual respect for each other.
I will come to all of you. Gaurav, do you want to come in for a counter very quick? These are final comments. Huh?
So
make your point.
You know, the Director General of Military Operations had made it very clear after India bombed 9 terror bases and the entire country, this is the first time in the history of India's war on terror that you bombed Murid-ke, you bombed Bahawalpur, you bombed Pakistan in Punjab. Despite 26/11, 1993, you never did that. Now you've done it. Now, this is something where the entire country should actually say, wow, it's a big step on war against Pakistan.
No, but does wow mean, Gaurav, let me ask you, does wow mean putting up large posters with the Prime Minister himself in uniform? Then you're virtually using the soldiers to build your own larger-than-life image.
Also,
is that right? I'm asking you.
About that.
20
No,
years
you
ago,
agree with
technology
that?
has changed. It's easier for us to conduct these wars.
I don't agree
Let's
with
go
that.
one by one. Okay, I'm going to...
I don't agree with
Okay,
that.
1 second. Okay, time out. I'm the moderator. Time out.
One man,
Let Gaurav
Jaishankar
finish.
was actually fighting on the world stage to put India's point across.
No, 1 minute.
Okay, 1 second.
No, Jaishankar is not above scrutiny.
No, let him be under scrutiny.
I mean,
but
your diplomatic efforts haven't exactly worked.
At a time,
Agree with you. Agree with him.
you know,
You
the
cannot
white
use
man
this
is
word.
trying to talk down to us. The white man is trying to
No,
talk down to us, and we are trying to show the white man his place. At the time when we are talking to radical Islamist terrorists, they're all ganging up against us.
But the white man
some
was our dear friend until a while ago.
So please,
So let's not...
understand
Yeah,
that.
1 second.
It's a tough battle.
Okay.
It's a tough battle. Let's stand
make
united
your point.
in that battle against
Final
Pakistan.
comments, Akshata, please come.
Rajdeep sir, as much as you're calling out these posters of Prime Minister Modi and saying that, you know, this kind of credit is unfair, we should also be calling out all of these Indira Gandhi posters that are being put up.
Agreed.
That, you know, it's on both sides.
I agree with you
And so
entirely.
that's, I agree. I also have to say this, that, you know, you cannot leave room for interpretation on both sides, which is why I say that when you have a comment from the External Affairs Minister that leaves room for doubt, it's fine for Rahul Gandhi to question it. I don't think that's wrong at all.
But
for
the
him
way-
to then...
way you do the questioning,
all right, allow me... Okay, no, 1 second. Okay, 1 second.
So
Allow
now
me
that
to...
Rajdeep and I are on the same
I
page.
don't
I'm
agree
glad.
with use of word like traitor.
I'm glad you guys are on the same page. Allow me to bring in...
I take objection to
I have
words
a
like
bad throat.
traitor.
I have a bad throat, please. Okay, I have a bad throat.
Then
Allow me.
I agree that Rahul Gandhi should have taken a
Okay,
back seat, which he did.
Akshata, 1 second, right?
Yeah.
Oh God, thank you for the silence. Pooja.
So my closing comment would be, what was the narrative after the Pahalgam massacre? Don't let communal disharmony emerge in this country. Stand united. But the politicians are the ones right now, especially in opposition, are trying to, in many ways, not understand that they need to stand united as well. We need to take lessons from how Asaduddin Owaisi and Shashi Tharoor behaved. You can be staunch critics of the government, but you need to know who is pinning for your disunity. Pakistanis would have been shocked with this multi-party delegation that's heading out right now, and 7 teams of that, even though, of course, a lot of it is with regard to the world stage. But the politicians also need to understand that at this juncture, the fact is, I believe the reason you're looking at this response is as much because, of course, the armed forces, but it's of the decision maker. And the decision maker is Prime Minister Narendra Modi.
No, why have you not mentioned the way the social media armies of a particular political party targeted Himanshi Narwal? The entire right-wing ecosystem targeted her when she spoke of Hindu-Muslim unity.
On that logic,
No, why? No, 1 minute.
Of course. Now,
Why don't we ask
then there are
questions?
many
The way
issues.
Vikram Misri was targeted.
Then many issues on
What
social
was the way
media.
Vikram Misri was targeted?
Fair point. 1 second. Allow me to bring in...
As to how downplay the Pahalgam massacre was also a narrative.
Pooja, okay, no, 1 second. Allow me to bring in out. But, you know, Pooja, I just like 10 seconds with what you said. Okay, first of all, okay, come, let me get in on
I
our...
think we all agree with the fact that there is a difference between questioning the center and low political discourse. The words that you use and do it at a sensitive time is not acceptable. You're hurting the sentiments of the entire country. Pakistan was peddling lies one after the other. They had no solid proof to back any of their claims. They went on to say, look at social media. They have embarrassed themselves at every possible platform. Yes, you're the opposition. It is your job to ask the questions, but know what you're asking. Don't portray yourself in the wrong picture when you know.
You know, but
I
actually feel the opposition has done a fairly responsible job. Yes, the tone and tenor could have been different. You're going with that all-party delegation outside. Globally, you're putting out a front that you're united. Domestically, you damn well ask the questions that need to be asked.
That's a very important point you made. We all need to keep India first.
One second, Anjali, but domestically, you damn well ask the question. Anjali, make your point. Anjali.
See, my point is that I agree with the fact that, you need to be sure about the timing. But the question also arises, you have a lot of people on the other side as well, union ministers who are calling opposition Pakistan. Like they say the same,
No, Kharge was called a Gaddar. Do you call Kharge a Gaddar?
Kharge called
No, 1 minute.
You cannot call anybody with an Indian citizenship.
Mr. Kharge was called a Gaddar. On the first day when Operation Sindoor was launched, an advertisement was put out showing Manmohan Singh as this terrible, weak prime minister.
No.
I mean, then you expect the opposition to stay quiet.
Plain and simple, you cannot label anybody
Similarly, there was a
Gaddar.
terrible ad which showed the prime minister's head off and saying missing it. I think
Congress
it was
did it.
Yes, so Congress did that. The BJP put out an ad showing that Manmohan Singh was weak. Why do you do it?
One second. No. Allow Anjali to finish.
And it is the government's responsibility to build a consensus, not the opposition.
No, in that poster war, then to equate Rahul Gandhi with Asim Munir. Now that's a bit much. But Anjali, make your point.
My point is, it is just not fair to any person to be questioned as a traitor and an anti-national when their entire life they've been in a public platform. Their life has been open books, okay? And then just because somebody has a different politics from you, you say, ye deshtrohi hai. It hurts. I think, I have personally felt it because I faced it on Twitter. Okay. I think it hurts.
I just have 3 minutes. I don't know who to give it to. This is a very precarious
I feel that the instances so far that have come with cherry picking here. We're talking about Rahul Gandhi, Asim Munir. You're saying that is distasteful. What about the picture of Prime Minister Modi without his head saying where is he? You're talking about that incident. Then we talk about Kharge. What about what Kharge himself said?
No, 1 minute. That was much later. My limited point is official media. Official media was used to target the Congress president and call him a Gaddar. What is he supposed to do? Keep quiet.
So the response is chutput what?
How many programs have you done? How many programs have you done saying why did the government call the Congress president a Gaddar? Did you do even one program?
Did we do a chutput war?
You don't.
Did we do chutput war?
No. The point is,
we all did it.
The point is the response.
Sir, did you do it?
Going down that.
Yeah, did you do it? Because we did it.
No, 1 minute. My limited point is it is primarily the job of the government to build a consensus. If you allow your social media,
I was just saying that
when you're fighting Pakistan, and please understand, you're not just fighting Pakistan, you're fighting Pakistan, a deceitful country backed by China that does not want a strong India, backed by Turkey, which does not want a strong India. Please realize we have to stand. We have to stand.
Nobody can hear each other. Two people talk over each other. Okay, one final question, and I think what we can maybe possibly answer this question is with the raise of hands.
To make my point without being interrupted. I'm not being permitted to complete my point. Everybody speaks, I keep quiet when others make a point.
10 seconds.
So there is a Pakistan, realize it. Do not play into Pakistan's hands come what may. If you have to hold your peace for now, hold your peace. Once you've decisively defeated Pakistan's state terror, go after whoever you may want to, but at least win this war.
But this war is a long-term war, Gaurav. You and I both know it.
Sure,
and like I said, like in 2011, the BJP did the right thing, which is going after the government, then asking for accountability. Go for accountability. Go for accountability.
Continue to bleed us. So don't let Pakistan continue to bleed you.
If we can just do a show of hands, primarily we all somewhere down the line agree that questions need to be asked.
Of course, but at the right time.
Show of hands, guys, and we let do that.
This is one point. Look at Pakistan, irrespective of their parties and leadership, ideological differences, they've been together against India. Mostly, almost all of them. They've questioned the government.
Okay, with that, there's no point.
Not true. They're not even being able to put together an all-party delegation.
That doesn't matter.
This is very important, ma'am. Let us not always put down also our politics. We have gone in 7 delegations across.
Yes, we've done well. I'm saying we've done well.
No, Pakistan, Pooja just said that Pakistan has shown that they are all standing by the government. Not at all. The PTI of Imran Khan has said we will not join any such delegation.
Allow me.
So please, let's not always put down India.
No. Let me make it clear. Pakistan is not a democracy. Pakistan is a dictatorship. If they don't stand with their government, they'll be 6 feet under. They will lie 6 feet under.
So they're not standing with their government.
That the opposition is doing its job, but there is a red line where you should stop before you play into Pakistani propaganda. We end with that. We'll see you next week. Thank you for watching.